What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now Plus. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about The Order 1886 and its sequel. The co-founder of Ready at Dawn had an interview today and spilled a lot of details. And I love these kind of tell-alls. A lot of these kind of almost forgotten games or what could have been, right? Like the sequel in this game seemingly would have been pretty cool. Why they didn't get a sequel is pretty interesting. And, you know, these things kind of happen all the time in the industry, right? And we just never hear the tell-all, right? The actual events of what actually happened. So we get to hear it, and it is disappointing. You know, just very, very briefly, it's a special game without it also being all that special. I think it'll always kind of be remembered as one of those just like very, very pretty games, a game that had a lot of movie type elements to it, but also a game that had a lot of potential. You know, there was some really good stuff in this game, and there was a lot of potential for the future. And you think about what Ready at Dawn had done in the past, and jumping from that to The Order 1886, like it was quite a jump. And it's a situation we talk about quite often. Days Gone, I think Days Gone was probably a better version, right, of The Order, where it sold more, it just did better overall. Not too much better in terms of critical reception, but it had potential. And you give these studios just one more chance, and they can give you something rather special. It's just nowadays, you don't get second chances, right? Studios have to nail it first time, which isn't really fair for studios like this, studios like Bend that are coming from like Uncharted on the Vita. Then they have to do an open world zombie game. Give them a break on the first game, right? And they don't ultimately end up getting breaks, right? So, okay, let's read kind of the highlights of this from Video Games Chronicle. So they say The Order 1886 received a 63 score on Metacritic, despite scoring way higher in mock reviews. This is why he believes that Sony passed on a sequel. I don't think it was the sales. I think it was the critical reception. That's the thing. Sony is a very proud group, and rightfully so. And the critical reception, if it had just been in the 70s, we would have had the sequel. I'm convinced. Just a few more points, and it would have been okay. With The Order receiving mid-70 scores in mock reviews, it's claimed that Sony had decided on a release date, and it was non-negotiable. So Ready at Dawn did its best to get the game in shape with the time it was afforded. One of the problems is that so much was cut. A lot of the more subtle narrative parts were lost because so much was chopped away, and things that were supposed to be interactive became a movie. We needed another year. That's the reality. We needed at least one more year, and we didn't get it, so we were like, cut. He said 2018 would have been a very realistic launch window for the sequel, which would have also featured multiplayer. And while he didn't confirm what year the game would have taken place in, he said that the fan theory that it was going to be set in 1986 was wrong. Now remember, the actually very, very sad part of the story is not only did we not get a future Order sequel, but Ready at Dawn was moved to just doing things, I think, with VR and Oculus and stuff, and then they were freaking shut down, I think, last year. So not only were they ripped from what they had kind of been building towards, right? Again, The Order wasn't a perfect game, but they were building. Then they kind of have to take a hard left, make brand new things for brand new systems under a brand new company. They fail there seemingly too, and then they have to get shut down, right? And they got shut down last year, so they're not even around anymore. So again, just a real, just not giving companies second chances, right? And I mean, look, are there times where companies sometimes don't deserve a second chance? Yeah, I suppose, but for me, it's that buildup. It's like, okay, well, what were you doing? I mean, these guys were making some PSP stuff, I think, back in the day. You know, you have to allow these jumps to happen. The Order 1886 was quite a freaking jump for them. So, but all pretty interesting, right? I mean, you kind of get answers of why was it only a 4-hour game? You know, I remember the number one memory I have with this game, okay? The visuals, beautiful, all that jazz. It's a movie as a game, all that stuff. What I really remember is I was so excited for this game, and I bought this game day one, okay, $60, whatever. My friend would come over back in the day to play games with me. We'd play God of War together, we'd play Uncharted, The Last of Us, and we would hand it back and forth. Like if there was chapters, he would do one, I would do the other. A friend I've known since I was 3 years old. We're still friends now. I remember he came over, he slept over that night. We beat The Order that day. We thought he was going to have to come to my house multiple days because that's what we did. He came over 3, 4, 5 times to beat Uncharted. He came over multiple times for God of War and all this stuff. The Order, we thought, okay, I didn't know the length. I never looked that stuff up beforehand. So for The Order, we're like, all right, well, he'll sleep over, we'll start it, and then he'll have to come back like next week. We'll have to do it again. We beat it I think we played it the night, we woke up, and we beat it that morning. And he went home, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess you don't have to come back because we don't have to play the game. It was crazy. That's my number one memory. So that'll always kind of be like important to just my memory box. But to know, okay, well, it's because honestly it didn't review well. Even mock reviews, it didn't review well. So Sony said, well, you're not getting the time you need. So what did they have to do? They had to cut things. So, what could we have gotten instead? Would it have made the game like 10 times better? Probably not, but it would have made it at least a little longer, right? A sequel having multiplayer, that kind of sounds interesting. I mean, it's a shooter. You lean into Resistance was a shooter. Killzone was a shooter. You have a multiplayer type element. I guess that makes sense. 2018, I mean, again, what could have been, right? The year of God of War could have also been the year of the Order 1886. And final thing, the fan theory that it would have been 1986, I don't know about you guys. I never heard that even back then, playing it and living it live. I always just thought the rumor and the presumption was it'd be the Order 1887. Isn't that kind of what we all... Plus, wasn't it leading towards a sequel that would kind of take place like directly after anyway? I don't know. I never saw... I don't know who made that up online, but I never once saw a rumor that they were going to jump 100 years and just do like the next century. I always heard the rumor and just had the assumption in my head that it was just going to be the next year, the Order 1887 instead of the Order 1886. I don't know. Maybe that was just me. I don't think it was, though. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.